Poetic license. It's September 2025, and this is FCTV's wonderful evening once a month. We're pleased to present original poetry, prose, and music. My name is Donna Scheer, and our theme tonight is autumn. Walking into this beautiful building in the studios of FCTV always makes me feel so happy. Who do I find here? Incredible friends. What do I make here? The happiest of memories. What shines here? Creativity, a sense of community, and the sharing of expertise and information. My wish is that anyone who walks through those doors can experience those same experiences. If you would like to join the FCTV family, there's a couple of ways to do it. The easiest, I think, is to join as a member. Whether you're one person or a family, it's still affordable. It's easily affordable, and it's got a lot of benefits with it. In addition, you could become a helper. You could be taking some courses and then volunteering what you've learned in the FCTV environment. All you need to do by taking courses and volunteering or any information you're looking for is to go to fctv.org and get all the details there. And now, performers, it's your turn to shine. Let's see, everyone has a 4-ish minute time slot. We thank you one and all for your participation. I'm going to start us off. You probably can't tell, but my favorite season of the year is autumn. And this poem I'm going to read first is a meditation on a memory. It's called Mountain Meditation. It's in 4 parts. 1. Much like the small plastic bird that bobs into a water glass, forever wetting its beak, never satisfying his thirst. They say we are worthy only if in perpetual motion. Churlish as dogs tethered and poked with a sharp stick, they lunge at my stillness and bark, "Do something!" Autumn day trip to the Blue Ridge Mountains. Teenage friends are loud blurs, like Van Gogh stars swirling at the edge of my attention, while I stand transfixed, gazed like a lover at the mountain. Time slows, my eyes adjust to the magic lantern's stony underpainting. On the mountain face, panes gray, forever evergreen, crevices outlined in black soot, inky as a chimney sweep, mulberry shadows smeared with a palette knife, purple jam on burnt toast. Surratt peers between the leaves, patches of pointillism, a swarm of buttercup and cadmium yellow. Brown crushed biscotti with dark chocolate chunks scattered everywhere with bloody cinnabar and vermilion and scarlet strewn with garnets and cherries. At the foot of the cliff, blue quartz, luminous glass, heartbreakingly etched with stars, constellations as yet unnamed. At the summit, a salt-shaken crown. Its wedge of white pierces the windy sky. Meditation spirits up the mountain, glissades down the other side to me. Much blessing in this hush. And that's my poem. And now I would like to welcome John Jackson to the microphone. La 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 la.
Yes, I've never handled a microphone before, ever. My name is John Jackson, and I write limericks of protest. That means my muse comes from the news, and reading the news over the past month has been like being nibbled to death like by ducks. So, in no particular order, actually, yes, particular order starting the end of last August. Gavin Newsom and staff on a roll, with Mr. Sensitive out there to troll. Having so much fun, do you think he will run? I'm certain that's part of the goal. Smithsonian's history detracts, so Trump's team will curate the facts. There's something unsavory about all that slavery, so how did we get all these blacks? On Washington streets, a farrago of ersatz police and commando, who are now fully armed. I'm sure they'll be charmed in LA, Baltimore, and Chicago. The news on ABC, NBC is fake when the boss don't agree. PBS goes away, CBS paid to play. How long before they come after me? Actually, I rewrote that one this morning. The news on ABC, NBC is fake when the boss don't agree. PBS goes away. CBS had paid to play. How long before FCTV? Oh. As his thoughts turn increasingly bitter, he wants all that's golden to glitter. The National Guard must be taking it hard, spreading mulch and picking up litter. Boston South Station, riddled with crime. But DC's Union Station covered with crime. And sooner or later, said of every dictator, he made the trains run on time. Minneapolis, August 27th, 2025. Thoughts and prayers, the refuge of an ass. Prayers don't stop bullets, alas. Priests, monks, and nuns know what evil are guns, a mass shooting at a Catholic school mass. For a few days, the Prez disappeared. What happened was as bad as we feared. He truthed out a letter, said he never felt better. God damn it, he has reappeared. Department of War was the Department of Defense, which the cynical may say makes some sense. Trump and Hegseth would be merchants of death, and they're so often taking offense. Sanctuary cities are paying a price. Boston and Chicago on ice. The cities Trump hates will just put on skates. Bruins and Blackhawks, that's nice. A few words on the late Charlie Kirk. Tossing MAGA hats was just part of his work. Killing's bad, a non-starter. Though they think him a martyr, the assassin is the bigger jerk. Someone got Charlie Kirk blasted. Trump ordered flags flown, half-masted. Now Kirk is a goner, but he deserves honor more than children at a Catholic school mass did. So we have a Department of War. I wonder just what it is for, because it is true not since World War II has the United States declared war. Despite manifest destiny lingo, today I am going to sing "Oh, Say Can You See" and "To Shining Sea." Mark that square on your radical left bingo. This one's true and unfortunate. Next week, we'll explore Harper's Ferry, where John Brown and Negroes made merry. That must be the truth, since there's no longer proof of anything to the contrary. what a talk show host does, well, he talks. Comedians think outside the box. Jimmy Kimmel joins Colbert. Soon late night will be bare, and the comedians will all be on Fox. And I love giving myself challenge, so I didn't write the limerick today for the theme until we were in the car. So my handwriting's awful. On the Cape, the fall's the very best season. The weather's still very pleasin'. Summer people, we got 'em, mostly gone by the autumn, so it's all to ourselves. That's the reason. Thank you.
Well, I'm partial to that last one. I like that. You got FCTV in one of your limericks, the one that you changed. I like that. And then the most poignant line, prayers don't stop bullets. Sad, true. Thank you, John. And now Sue Beth Carlson, my chariotist today.
Dismantling disaster. Technology divided us, though it seemed to bring us ease. It drained us of our abilities, stole our talents, what a tease. While intellectual artifice masquerades as a helpful friend, its anti-social media could be the living end. Political performers and nations mired in wars are twisting truth for power and always wanting more. They'll find themselves in quicksand. The more they grab, the deeper they'll sink. So here's a song that sings to you about some things, I think. And I'm sorry, John, for borrowing your style. It's like a series of your limericks. I actually didn't write the music for this song yet, so instead of singing it, I'm just going to read the lyrics. Once there was a fire, and sparks flew into fights, and while the world was burning, each one knew that they were right. Then ideas collided as there raged a flowing flood, and while they swirled in anger, all became buried in mud. An earthquake shook foundations, and each fracture had its take, but while they were debating, all the world began to break. Then a hurricane surrounded, each knew different ways to turn to escape the wayward winds, and as they argued, homes were churned. Yes, there was the fiercest fire. It burned within our souls. Passion rising from its ashes sparked ideas that made us whole. The earth quaked all around us. It shook us to the core. Land opened up in pain, and from within birthed even more. A hurricane washed over us, hate released by pouring rain, and with waves of creativity set us free, released our pain. As the runaway tide was rising, quickly rising up above, it finally reached our shores and flooded our hearts with love. So while the world is burning or being washed away with floods, don't argue with each other, don't get mired in the mud. Hate is pain expressed, and our response will seal our fate. So make the most of mayhem, and let's collaborate. After I wrote this, I was thinking, don't fight the people, fight the problems. And so repeat after me. Don't hate, collaborate. Ready? Don't hate, collaborate. Don't wait, collaborate. Don't wait, collaborate. Thank you for that. And this next poem I've read here already. It just felt like it was time to read it again. This was from 2022, and unfortunately, things haven't changed all that much, or if anything, they've gotten worse. But this is called Kind of Light. Senseless are the word bullets, dipped in gaslight, that explode from the automatic weapons of division. Instead, collaboration, glowing in the natural light of sensible science and spirit, sees compassion multiply.
I love that dismantling disaster, Sue. That was a really good poem. really good. And don't hate, collaborate. Thank you for that. Oh, and now Ron Zweig is here. Let's get him up to the mic to read from his prose. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thanks, Donna. Thanks to FCTV. Thank all of you for being here. These are great sessions. I'm not quite ready for autumn yet, so I won't be. I don't have nothing on autumn at the moment, but this is a story that I actually presented at the August Drift and Dribble Literary Society, which is a new society, and there were 22 presenters, and you could present anything. There was one play. There were different things for less than 5 minutes, or 5 minutes, up to 5 minutes. So this will be short. So this starts out January 29th, 2003. What reaching out can bring. Reflections on a Phnom Penh night. Dusk descended outside my second-floor Royal Phnom Penh hotel room, accompanied by what sounded like strings of distant firecrackers popping that often accompany family celebrations, but the short bursts made them different, rather like gunshots in the distance. Looking out through glass sliders from report writing on the previous week's work in Laos, I noticed the distant sky began to flicker red. Then flames became visible beyond the building across from me, with sound of rioters yelling, doors being bashed in, and glass shattering, with all moving closer. Next, an angry crowd assembled just below my room, having already looted and set fire to the adjacent wood-frame building that had become an inferno, brightly lighting its surroundings, including my room that had been plunged into darkness when the power went out an hour earlier. Relief must come. The building I was in was now under assault, with vibrations from breaking through doors. It too was afire, with the hallway filled with dense, acrid smoke to the floor. No way out. Need to put a wet towel across the door's base. I had placed my luggage and bed sheets tied together as an escape rope from on the room's balcony. Then rocks thrown at the closed glass sliders at first bounced off before the doors were shattered. I had held a side drape against the wall to deflect the glass shards that spread across the room. When the rocks stopped coming, I stood behind the balcony, fully lighted by the nearby flames, when someone across the way saw me, started to point and shout. I had no choice but to step out onto the balcony and plead for help from the gathered rioters below, who looked up at me aghast. Then one was climbing vines toward my balcony, but couldn't reach it. When I extended my hand, I helped him up and shook his as if he was my savior. He saw my luggage on the balcony, threw it down to the crowd, walked past me, entered the room, picked up the TV and lowered it to the crowd using the sheets I had tied together. He started back into the room, stopped, and then gestured that I should leave, but wouldn't let me use the sheet rope. The only option, with computer bag and travel documents on my back, was to leap to a nearby, out-of-reach tree from the balcony. I jumped to its branches, somehow gripped two, and then lowered myself down to the waiting mob. I began shaking their hands, treating them as my rescuers. After a minute or so, they indicated I had to leave, but not to an open field to the back where I wanted to go, but rather to the front, through the burning lobby, with embers falling and floor wax melting. With no other option, I approached the lobby door, took a deep breath, marched across it as quickly as possible out the other side, and then realized a young guy had picked up my suitcase and followed. A tall barricade of piled-up hotel furniture and fixtures between the burning wings of the hotel obstructed us from proceeding out of the complex. Somehow, after a few moments, a passage was created through the barrier to the adjacent narrow street that was flowing with an endless crowd of intense demonstrators moving in both directions. A uniformed man approached. I asked for his help getting a taxi. He directed me to a main thoroughfare a mile's walk away. The young fellow who accompanied me dropped my bag and ran off into the crowd. After trudging in the dark, surrounded by wafting smoke, slowly passing motorcycles, weaving through and dissolving in hordes of people, I reached the near corner of a main road to find trucks speeding by filled with street-lighted, shiny, silver-helmeted troops. A uniformed officer approached who spoke English. I asked for help getting a taxi. He went away, and another offered a bottle of water. Several minutes later, he returned with a shirtless man with a headband who said he had a taxi. I said, "Great, bring it," with little hope. While waiting, I was approached by a man who said he was a reporter from Time magazine who wanted my story of what happened. After a few minutes speaking with him, the fellow who said he had a taxi returned with a car and a friend. They immediately loaded my luggage in the car. After winding around roadblocks and avoiding troop trucks, we arrived at another hotel where I knew some colleagues were staying. Before the two departed, they gave me their names and a phone number in case I would like a tour of the city the next day, for which I thanked them. While waiting to finish checking in, a young woman was staring at me from across the lobby for a few minutes, who then approached and anxiously implored if I had any contact lens washing fluid. I had none. She too had sought refuge in the hotel, but without luggage. The rest of the night was uneventful, except for my calling my wife at her office in D.C. to tell her I had changed hotels in case she needed to reach me. She said she was in a meeting. Let's talk later. Thank you.
Action-packed, Ron. You left me breathless with that. I guess I didn't realize at first that it was rioting that was going on. You know, I just thought that there was this conflagration. But wow. I hope you're going to try to get it published somewhere. I think that would be cool. And interesting ending. You know, we were breathless, but then it calmed right down with the inanity of her of her short conversation with you. Oh, golly. All righty, my friend Ellen Todd, my sister.
I'm Ellen Todd, and I write stories. As a child, I looked forward to visits from my grandparents in the autumn. They'd arrive from Ohio with one or two of my grandfather's sisters and their husbands. An autumn visit allowed them to bring bounty from their almost 3 acres of garden as it slowed down. Large American cars allowed them to carry a half peck of Stanley plums and a generous peck of tomatoes. The tomatoes were mostly a beefsteak type that Grandpa dubbed pawpaw knockers. Years later, before heirlooms were common, I searched for these ugly tomatoes, cat-faced varieties with cracked shoulders and the best flavor. Grandma always included her homemade jams. Her specialty was quince jewels made from the quince bush in their garden, small dice of fruit surrounded by a pale, pinkish-orange, translucent jelly. This was heavenly spread on a piece of toast or accompanying cottage cheese. I would gladly make that preserve to accompany cheese today if I could just find a recipe that looked right. At least she shared her recipe for freezer jam. She usually brought a large, well-cleaned coffee can filled with strawberry freezer jam. This uncooked jam provided a welcome taste of summer in the middle of winter. Sometimes she had smaller containers of red or black raspberry freezer jam, but we all liked the strawberry the best. Fall foliage in Massachusetts is more colorful than in northern Ohio. Their woods are filled with the yellows and browns of aspen, silver maple, beech, oak, hickory, but they lack the reds and oranges of our red and sugar maples that add such vibrant color to our woods. So these visits would usually include a leaf peeping trip driving from Stowe, Massachusetts to Harvard's Prospect Hill Road that still has a large undeveloped hillside at the historic site of Fruitlands Museum. An unobstructed view stretches down the hill and across miles of colorful foliage. When we tired of looking at the colors, we'd all pile back into the cars and detour home by one of Stowe's many apple orchards so that Grandma could make apple pies, allowing us to help and learn from her. Today, I live on the Cape, which has its own autumn specialness. Lighter traffic makes it easier to do our errands. We can even get a reservation or a walk-in table at our favorite restaurants without difficulty. Even though oysters are available year-round, John and I are traditionalists. We wait for September, a month with an R, to resume eating this local treat. Despite the near perfection of Cape Cod in autumn, we sometimes choose to travel. We're about to travel to Ohio, researching an ancestor whose stories I've mentioned here in the past. We'll spend time at cemeteries, libraries, and historic sites, and we'll visit one of my second cousins. I'm sure we'll compare memories. His grandparents were often the ones who accompanied my grandparents, and I have fond memories of them. I'm sure we will share memories of homemade jam, apple pies, and a loving family.
Thank you, Ellen. Wow. Now I know why you have such a large garden with so many. We're Facebook friends, and so I often see pictures of their bounty, great bounty. Um, uh, Strawberry jam sounds good. The glory of tomatoes, fresh tomatoes. Wow, yeah, that's just wonderful. Thanks for the share. Wayne Stuck is here tonight with his guitar, and I'm happy to see him.
Okay, thank you. I'll say goodbye to summer soon, sailing on the bay. Sunshine now is a southeast line, not high above our heads each day. Colder air coats the surface of my warm swimming today. It's got me wishing for stronger winds so I could sail the bay. Soon the leaves on the trees will go orange, yellow, and red. But as a long-distance runner, I know it's really summer we all really dread. I'll rejoice in some cool, dry weather running on the roads and trails that I tread. They say my personality traits are guided by Sagittarius the Archer. But I don't fear sailing in autumn winds, 'cause Sag guides me here on the bay. They say I'm a chord, curious, honest, optimistic, restless, and direct. I'm having a love of freedom these days, something I need the best. Autumn is a time for change in our nation's direction. To stand proudly for freedom's fairness versus ignorance, greed, and war. So as we shift again now, spinning round the sun, let us change the viewpoint of some of us, having everything while millions have little or none. Thank you.
Thanks, Wayne. I think that was interesting how you combined your runner's theme with the autumn theme with the joy of being free. So thank you. You always have a panoramic view of life. Thank you for that. Let's see. Elaine Robinson, our mermaid friend. Are we going to hear about mermaids today?
I am Elaine Robinson, and I have 3 poems, and autumn is my favorite time of the year as well. So my first poem is The Dragon of Autumn. A whirl of wind gathers red, orange, green leaves, forming a creature of the colorful season. He is the dragon of autumn. His breath is cool air that draws the many to marvel at the beauty of a changing season. Often he whispers in the wind as leaves float around him. When the whiteness of winter appears, he fades into chilly air as leaf by leaf kisses the frozen ground. His voice still whispers in the wind, he will come back at the next red, orange, green, yellow season. Cardinals sing to him to keep him company. He listens, observes, the dragon of autumn. And as usual, I write so much, I can't get away from mermaids for some reason, but I feel that mermen really deserve some equal time here. So this poem is entitled Merman. Marvelous merry man of the salty sea, energizing soul smiles and swims with me. Rolling waves, warm, inviting, push us ashore. My handsome ocean fish sings romantic lore. Always I listen, with a happy heart. Now we kiss, but this land dweller must part. Little getaway with a merman. And then last but certainly not least, we have Bigfoot and the Turnip Festival. Big and hairy, he watches from afar. Laughter and happy voices fill the air. Humans surround a giant veggie. It surely will be a winner in this year's Festival of Turnips. Bigfoot ambles over to a food line. Sustenance and loneliness will be eased for the primate who lives in the woods. An elderly lady places turnips, carrots, radishes, and an assortment of low-caloric, life-affirming, soul-renewing vegetables on a plate. The large simian sniffs his food. The lady tells him how cute he is. He pats her shoulder. The forest dweller is not noticed. The turnips are the stars. He wanders amongst the crowd, observing turnip items and people as well. He sits on front of the massive turnip. Pictures are snapped. Songs are sung. A chihuahua barks. The merriment comes to a close as the sun retreats. Bigfoot returns to his home in the woods, thoughts of turnips in his head. Cryptozoologists descend upon the area where the turnip festival was held, but they are too late. Bigfoot has eluded them yet again. A small lone turnip lies at the edge of the woods. Bigfoot was here.
Thank you, Elaine, for that cornucopia of characters, always with the characters. I love the colors in the dragon poem, and I loved the Turnip Festival had us all laughing, but I especially like that merman. I mean, a merman who comes on shore and sings and kisses. You'll have to tell me where you saw him. Okay, thank you. Yep. All right. Well, thank you. Is Marie here? Okay. Uh, but someone else is here. Jeff Brown. I saw Jeff. Sue and I went to a outdoor concert at the bus depot a couple Sundays ago, and Jeff blew everyone's mind with his music, songs that he's written for the most part. Just wonderful. So I'm going to put this up a little bit for you, Jeff, because I know taller than I. There you go.
How is everybody? All right, I'm gonna go up just a hair more with it. All right, I didn't know there was a theme, so the song isn't really fall themed, but it's awesome. Is that mic okay? I saw you dancing in the clouds. I don't know why and I don't know how. You got so high up in the sky. Nobody told you you couldn't fly. And when I wake up to the light of day, I see the sunshine as it lights your face. So real to me, but the dream will never stay. And I see storm clouds in the western sky. I don't know how and I don't know why. Was it you telling me goodbye? Or am I losing my mind? And when I wake up to the light of day, and I see the sunshine as it lights your face. So real to me, but the dream will never stay. And now I lay my head down to sleep. You know it's you I hope to I can dance with you in the clouds. In the moonlight, the stars are all around. And when I wake up to the light of day, I see the sunshine, it chases you away. So real to me, but the dream will never stay. Thank you. All right, I'll do. This one's my newest song. I'm not 100% on the lyrics, but. If I was an outlaw, find myself a train. And if I could be anyone, I think I'd change my name. It's hard when you don't know what you're living for, and everyone around seems so sure. If I was an angel, I think I'd fly away. And I would live out my whole life on a bright and sunny day. And I wouldn't need to know what I was living for, with only one day and never anymore. If I was the devil, I'd say my work was done. Just look around everywhere, everything and everyone. The past is the past. It was never gonna last, and we all knew. The things that we do, the ones who we love, that's what matters. And if I was a gambler, I would tell you how I feel. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Jeff, I don't know which one I love more, which of those two songs I love more. They're both so incredibly good. It's nice to think about if I were whatever. if I were, if I were an angel, if I were a devil, if I were a gambler. Yeah. For something new and different. We've instigated something for Poetic License that if anyone out there would like to be a part of Poetic License in any given month, but you can't be here. You can't get to the studio. We have some friends that we used to Zoom with all the time. I'm hoping some of them will take up this offer. But we're going to have one ghost performer a month if someone signs up for it and performs and sends a tape to Tony at fctv.org with your information. We might be able to put it on the air. And One such person is Morgane Huntress, who we have seen at Poetic License a number of times. She is the loveliest woman, and so is her little dog. And she has the most beautiful British accent, and she performs with such passion. Well, Morgane decided that she would be our ghost performer tonight, and so we're going to get to see what she has to say today, okay?
Namaste, friends. My name is Morgane Huntress, and my pronouns are she, they. A pint-sized, small-framed soul, I sport red-tinted spectacles and a black bonnet for vision access needs. I'm delighted to join you. Are you ever up just before dawn? I think it is a most magical time. One morning this past spring, I paused to take in the morning bird chorus. It begins with a single solitary voice in the darkness that slowly builds to a symphony of stochastic sound. This song, Out of the Darkness, came to me whilst listening to these divine voices. Out of the darkness, midst morning dew, I smiled serenely, listening to you. Delicate muscles, sweet, simple song, in the stillness of dawn, I could listen so long. I breathe in this moment. I breathe this in here. I reflect on perception. Is my mind clear? What have I learned in my few years? Have I wisdom to offer? Have I released fears? I've learnt running away will not bring peace. Over squeaking and squawking just brings the police. Abstaining from food, not drinking enough, either brings calm, the waters are rough. Perseverating is not ideal, clouding the mind won't straighten the wheel. Conditions change just like circumstance. A pendulum sways, and now moving down. What can I know? I can only know this present, this moment. Let me not dismiss. Let me breathe it in as I listen to you. Out of the darkness, amidst morning dew.
Thank you, Morgane. Oh my gosh, that was so wonderful. Again, anybody who wants to sign up to be a ghost performer, please do. Tony at FCTV.org. I'm going to close the night out with a poem. Let's see. I love autumn for another reason, is because school starts again. I loved school when I was growing up. I loved being a teacher. I did that for many years. Just when the autumn weather comes, I can't wait to get back to that situation because I love learning and I love teaching. This is a poem that comes from my childhood, elementary school, and it takes place in the schoolyard, and so that made me think about how much I love autumn. The poem is called "The Trouble with Quarters." The trouble with quarters. Filched a quarter from my baby sister's baby buggy. Spent it on the way to school at the penny candy store. Milk Duds, Mary Janes, Tootsie Rolls. I felt rich. Earned a spanking for the theft, but for a while life was sweet. In the schoolyard, flying on the swings, scuffing my feet, uncovered silver in the sand. Nearby, my enemy was about as sweet as a pair of brass knuckles. Hair messy as a starling's nest, clothing sloppy from climbing and scrapping with an army of boys. We all knew the first rule of the playground, finders keepers. I found it, the quarter was mine. But when she saw me pick it up, she bulldozed her face at me and growled, "Give it here!" I had never fought a girl. We wrestled, shoved, pinched, pulled. I limped home, clothes torn, face grimy. Another spanking. But hidden in the pocket of my dress, something shiny waiting to be spent. And that's the trouble with quarters. Thank you so much. This edited performance will be shown on FCTV, Channel 6, Roku, Apple TV, as well as FCTV's channel on YouTube. And if you would like to be a performer, I hope that you will sign up next time. The next Poetic license will be on Thursday, October 16th. Go to fctv.org, search for Poetic license, and then register online. The suggested theme for October is night. It's night. And remember, audience members are always welcome, no charge. Warm thanks to our producer, Tony Sedera, to our wonderful trio of camera friends, and of course to our kind and courageous performers. You are the magic. Thank you for being here. So be well, friends. Until we meet again, peace and shine on.